Okay, coming at you with another video. This is the Sole Fitness E35 Elliptical, and I'm gonna do an unboxing and instructional video on how to put it together. I've been told it's quite difficult to put together, so hopefully this video will help you out. Okay, so there's a little dotted line on the bottom, tells you where to cut with the box cutter. So I've gone ahead and done that, and you can see I've cut off the straps. So I'll lift this up and get started. Okay, here's what's inside. Lots of pieces here to have to go through. And there's this little box right here, which we'll find out what's in there in a moment. Another box down there. And so let's start taking these things apart and setting them out in the garage here. All right, I've gotten it all out of the box. Box is over there. Here's all the pieces. There's 3 boxes, obviously. And I've got to figure out which one's left and which one's right. I've heard that's a problem. There's a center part there we'd hold on to, but those are obviously the parts that are gonna, be the push and pull part. Here's the base. Here's the flywheel and everything, the steps. And so it'll be facing this way, right, when you're doing your elliptical. So we're gonna find these instructions somewhere in here, hopefully. Start putting it all together. But this is what's in each little box here. Control unit over there, obviously. So let's start seeing what we can get done. Okay, the first step is to slide this back piece onto the front piece. So you kind of just slide it in there, watch out for the wires. Obviously lift those things up on top of the things, because those are the things that roll back and forth. And then there's some hardware here we'll put together to hold the metal together and obviously connect the wires. So inside one of the boxes is the instruction manual, and then they have the tools and hardware, and it tells you, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So I'm only going to open this right now and follow the instructions. So step 1 was, again, sliding this on, but then putting these guys on. I haven't tightened them yet. There's one washer here, and then there's like what they call a nylon nut over here on this side, same thing on the other side. And then we're going to put 4 other ones down in those holes with some washers. Okay, in the instructions we have the 4 bolts, but they're a little confusing as to which ones you're supposed to use washers and whatnot. So they give you the numbers for these washers. These have a little bit smaller hole, as you can see, than these other ones over here. This is a larger hole. So you're supposed to put this bolt standing it up, right? Then you put this small little lock one on there, and then that one, and then the star one. Okay, that's what the instructions say. So I went ahead and tightened those 6 bolts, so the 4 on top and the 2 on the sides. So essentially we're done with this part. That looks like a lot of numbers and things like that, but once you figure out it's just 6 bolts and a couple of wires to attach, it's really not that daunting. Now the next thing is to control this control mast, and it goes in. So they've actually given you a little twisty tie. It's kind of described here. So you can pull the cable, this little cable right here, up through it. So you can see there's a little twisty tie on there. So you tie it on there, pull it all the way up through there. So obviously it will connect to the control unit. So I'll do that. And then we've got these little 4 screws here that were left from step 1. And I went ahead and put that the lock washer that was there, or split washer, and then the flat one, of course, and those will go on the 4 right here to hold it in right there. Okay, and they have given an Allen wrench to help you out with that. All right, I'm gonna try that now. So what you have left from step 1 after you use that thing to feed it all the way through, right? And tighten these 4 bolts, those are those 4 bolts, is we're gonna put on, or my golf cart here, put on this, go ahead and put on this console. And first, the bottle holder too, that you gotta put that on here as well. So that says you gotta do that before you assemble anything else. So we're gonna find that little plastic bottle holder and put that on, and then the console. So you should only have these 6 screws left on step 1. Okay, so we're about ready to put this console on here. Got to connect all the computer cables, but first you have to put this on, this bottle holder first, because if you got the console on, there's no way you could screw these in, because you can see there's little screws right there is where I had to tighten them up. So they've kind of made these wiring idiot proof. There's like 3 little prongs on a white and a red, and then 2 on a white and a red, and then this big guy here. And on the back of the console, it's fairly self-explanatory with respect to that. So there's a, you know, three, they're both, you know, white and red, and then we have a 4 that's white, and then the red and white, and then the big one. So pretty simple. We'll go ahead and do that, and then obviously those last 4 screws are going to hold this in place on the back here after we plug it in. So just real quickly, you might notice when you're going to plug these in, there's this 4-piece one here. Well, there's not a wire for that, so just do the 3 pin ones, the 2 pin ones, and then the main module. So don't worry about that extra one. It's not used on this model. So now we're on to step 2. So I went ahead and opened up all the step 2 materials right here. And you're going to start with these smaller guys here, and the big, huge washer, and then you're going to have a wave washer kind of on the other side. So you'll need both of those with the big one, okay, and then these wave washers. Now, the instructions say that these arms that you're putting on have a little indicator to tell you which one's left and which one's right. Well, that's not true, unless it was on the bag. It could have been, but I think they were kind of in the box. But anyway, if you look at kind of the orientation of it from the back, right? So this would be on the back end of the unit, and then you compare that to the instructions. You can see that bigger piece right there goes right there into that slot there. Okay, right here. That's what we're talking about, I believe. So, but that bigger piece, see, is more that way. And then these guys will attach down there. Okay, but first we're gonna pop these on here, and again, the big one, because you can see, you know, we'll take this off. You can see that's where the bolt's going to go with that washer, but that wave one goes in there. That's what they call it. Okay, we'll try that. All right, so in older instructions, there might have been 2 of these for each side, but in these newer ones, there's only 1 of these wavy ones for each side. So obviously you got to pull this off and cut off the little twisty tie that was through here holding everything in place. So I've got 1 little wavy washer in there. We're going to tighten that up in a minute, and then we'll go ahead and finish off down there. The next step is just 1 bolt and a washer and a nut, and then we're on to step 3. All right. So again, to complete step 3, tighten that up. Make sure your wavy washer's in there. Tighten these guys up, and it says to put the washer on the other side. But for whatever reason, I have to think it'd be on this side, but whatever. This has a little tie in it to hold this little piece that's inside of right there in place. So tighten those up on both sides, and now you're ready to go to step 3. All right, here are the pieces for part 3. So there's 4 curved washers right there. That's going to go for the middle bolt of the arm. The other washers will be used for the upper and lower part. And then these little black grommets are just going to be put into the arm where the wire is right there. You'll pop it in there and hide the wire. So we'll go ahead, and these aren't labeled either left or right. Again, it could have been on the box or something like that, but you can figure it out just from the manual which side goes where, right? So the little arm piece, and plus the little resistance control, obviously you want to have it right there on the left or right where you can see it, so it's pretty self-explanatory. So we'll go ahead and put some bolts on and get this tightened down. Okay, so I've tightened them all up, right? We have the curved washer on both sides of this middle one, right? So now you're supposed to connect these guys, and you're supposed to shove all that excess wire in there. Okay, it says even the connector, okay? And then you use these little grommets here to pop on there, and then pop it in that little console mast. That's where it says to do it, inside there. All right, we're starting on step 4 now. Basically it's just putting all the covers on. So you can see that's all we have left is some covers, and then just a bunch of little screws to put those covers in. There'll be covers for those, and it's probably about time to take this guy out. This was here to help protect things from falling down in there, so we'll take that out now. These little grommets, you can see there's a lot of grease here. You'll get greasy hands. These little grommets are hard. You just got to shove them in there. I used a little, the screwdriver they provided to help kind of guide it in there. Let's put these covers on, call it a day. All right, so the first cover that goes on is this one here, and you can see it says up, so eventually it's gonna have to turn that way, right? And there's some little sheet metal screws right there. So you gotta use a couple of those, on the sheet metal screws. And so you're gonna see that they're both the same basically on both sides. So one side's gonna show the screws and one side's not, just because that's the way, for some reason, that they made it. You know? So again, that one has the cover not showing the screws, but over here on this side, you have no choice. You have to show the screws, which is kind of weird because that says up. But anyway, it's just a small detail. So the first things you put on, again, are these guys. So you're using the longer ones. They have like 26 of these silver ones, and they put the little black ones on the other side. So I put those on and then twisted it over, put it in both sides there. You can use a smaller screwdriver on the other side. You can kind of move this up, you know, as you make it work. And then the second part is to put these guys on to cover this. Again, the same kind of screws, those silver ones. So we're on to the next cover. Next step is to do the stabilizer covers there in the middle. They're marked left and right on the inside of those pieces of plastic, and then the one in the front here, right there. Using those same screws, those silver ones. Again, there's like 26 of those. All right, on to the next step. All right, the next step is to install some brackets right there. And if you're wondering where these are, they're in the bag with the power connector. So, and then they're in a small bag in there, okay? And then we'll put these on. There's a certain way to do it with these, again, these guys screws here. So one on each side, then we'll install the cover for it as well. All right, here's finally where you'll install these facing rearward. So that's gonna install facing rearward. But now you're gonna use those 4 little screws. Those were used 2 on each side. All right. Okay, after you put those little brackets on using the shorter ones, I may have misspoke and said the longer ones at first, but then you put on this guy. There's a screw on each side right there. And then this guy here, this cover, and there's a screw there. And then you go into those little brackets that were there. And so on each side. So we just got a few more things to cover up and we're ready to go. The next step is to put that cover right there with the 4 screws in. And then you're gonna go ahead and put these covers on. When you put them on, the bags are marked left and right, so that'll tell you which one goes where. But watch out for that wire, so you want to make sure you're not putting a screw through it. So I'll show you that real quick. So you can see there's a wire there. Hopefully you can see. It's kind of hard to tell, but anyway, you just want to watch out because you're putting these in with those black screws that are sharp, and so the wire's kind of tucked right there. And so there's my place where I'm going to put the screw. So we should be good to go. One thing I neglected to point out when I put these guys on was you gotta also put these guys on too, right here, to cover up this little part here. So 2 black screws and 2 of the silver screws. There you go. All right, now it's the mast cover. There's an old video out there that's saying if you didn't put this on before, you have to take things apart, but luckily they changed the design. So now you can put this on and screw it in with those little black screws. And then we'll put the tablet, mount that guy up here somewhere. I can't remember where, but we'll figure it out. And a tablet holder. So let's go ahead and put this together and take a look. All right, so there's 4 screws. Those black ones go here, and just make sure it fits all into place there, right in that little gap. And so here's the two screws back here, sheet metal screws or whatever, for this tablet holder. So we can put this guy on here, and hopefully it's gonna work. There should be 4, but there's only 2 screws left, so I'll have to improvise, but that's how it goes. We can put it on there. Only got, I think, a few, oh no, there's 4 left, so perfect. So we'll put that on. All right, we are put together. That took a couple hours. By yourself, it's gonna take that long. If you have help, maybe a little quicker. But now we just need to plug it in. The plug I noticed was down there on the bottom with the on-off switch. Plug it in and fire it up, and we'll be ready for use here. I'll go ahead and show the first plug in here just to see if everything turns on correctly. Okay, just turned it on. And you can see if we get up on here. Yeah, the display is much better when you're standing up here. I did notice the cord there. Maybe I need to tie it up to something or run it in a different way. But yeah, I mean, it feels nice and smooth, and everything seems to be working so far. We can put a little tablet here, although I have a big screen TV there. Yeah, we'll give this a shot. If I have any updated information, I'll certainly do a new video. But yeah, this is the Sole E35, and has a little hookup there for if you still have a phone or headphones that have wires. And they got a little fan here, and yeah, incline, level, so more resistance, I suppose, if you want to go higher up on the incline. That's what that's for. So we're ready to try this guy out. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment below. And as always, subscribe for more videos just like this. Thanks a lot.